Hello everyone, I'm Mike DeAngelo with That's Entertainment, and this is your video review of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles: The Crystal Bearers by Square Enix. In May 2006, half a year before Nintendo released its latest console, Square Enix announced its support for the system in the form of the Crystal Bearers. Since then, it has been a long wait for the Wii exclusive title, and the Crystal Chronicles outlet of the Final Fantasy franchise has seen countless other releases, including My Life as a King, My Life as a Dark Lord, and Echoes of Time. Finally, in late December 2009, Square Enix was able to release what had been their flagship Wii title. Was it worth the wait, or did the developer run out of steam before releasing the Crystal Bearers? 1,000 years after the original Crystal Chronicles title for GameCube, magic has seemingly faded from existence with the annihilation of the Uke tribe. However, in a world of imbalance, new powers arise. The Lilthys embrace science and technology and utilize crystal reactors to help govern the other two races, the Clavets and the Selkies. But magic is not gone, at least not entirely. A rare sect of beings called Crystal Bearers exist, who have retained some amount of magical power. Their abilities have led them to be both feared and hated. You play as Lil, a brash, overconfident Clavet, who is one of the aforementioned Crystal Bearers. He is a telekinetic and is already well aware of his abilities by the time you begin controlling him. His attitude leads him to be relatively unlikable, however, by both the people he encounters in the game as well as the player. Other characters throughout the game suffer the same indignities as Lil, being either too annoying to truly enjoy seeing or not being developed enough.
You're just gonna leave me?
The Crystal Chronicles portion of the Final Fantasy franchise has never been what you would call tried and true. It's almost accepted that the Crystal Chronicles subtitle is synonymous with experimental. As such, Square Enix moves into this game full force into another direction than any other Final Fantasy title to date. For starters, a lot of role-playing elements that you might find in other Final Fantasy titles are gone. This is because the Crystal Bearers is, at its heart, an action title. Sure, you find and equip items and gear, but the core gameplay revolves around the real-time telekinesis-based magic mechanic that Lil embraces. This wouldn't be so bad, except that the game requires the use of the Wii Remote's pointer to establish where Lil will direct his magic, followed with a waggle of the controller that sends objects or enemies flying. Combined with a touchy camera system, the Crystal Bearers often leaves players looking away from potential targets. The game is not very difficult at all, which could be seen as a breath of fresh air considering the flaws with the action, or it could seem like a cheap cop-out by the developer not to address the issues Crystal Bearers has. There definitely seems to be vast quantities of the title that needed to be refined before release. The game is littered with minigames as well, but these too feel a little unresponsive, and not entirely because of the controls. Most of the game feels rushed, and despite some cool features like a medal board that keeps track of some interesting achievements, Crystal Bearers staggers under the weight of its awkward gameplay. Graphically, the Crystal Bearers brings a lot to the table. Square Enix is good at putting pictures on a canvas and making them come to life. This game showcases what the Wii's potential is. The music too is really entertaining. For instance, some heavy rock adorns some of the opening moments of the game, which helps to get you interested in playing. The voiceover work is very hit or miss, and can partially be blamed on the dialogue the actors had to work with. With a wide assortment of minigames, Crystal Bearers seems like it would be very inviting in bringing back players who have finished the game. That, combined with a New Game Plus feature that brings over your acquired skills and equipments from a completed game, could have you searching out new ways to play the game. Crystal Bearers does reward clever thinking when addressing its battle system. That said, however, you'd really have to toil through some of the game's more shoddy elements to find any enjoyment in playing through again. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles: The Crystal Bearers seems like a good idea on paper. Have the massively popular Eastern developer Square Enix carve out an action title to broaden appeal and infect a new market with its games. However, it seems like not enough was written on that paper. With a host of flaws like questionable controls, an unwieldy camera, and a group of unrelatable characters, it seems as if the developer forgot about the title for a couple of years before setting to work on it again. Hopefully Square Enix does not give up on this portion of the franchise. The ideas that they had behind the game were interesting, even if the outcome this time were less than satisfactory. While the game is not unplayable, except for a narrow demographic, not many will want to play it. That's Entertainment gives Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles: The Crystal Bearers a score of 6 out of 10.
Well, let me know of any progress.